Hey guys, welcome back to Unfiltered American Media. Caroline here, great to see you. Let's dive right in.
So, Letitia James, yeah, we all know who she is. She's getting hammered with calls to step down as she's looking at the possibility of serious prison time following her federal indictment. Yep, karma appears to be serving Letitia James exactly what she deserves. Oh, that's beautiful. What goes around comes around. The irony of her getting indicted is reverberating all through Washington right now. Absolutely. So we're breaking down the mounting pressure on Letitia James and what could be coming next as she attempts to fight these criminal charges in court. Let's dive in.
Forget that. Literally, she ran for office targeting Donald Trump. I guess she just didn't ever imagine that he would be in office. This is what Democrats in New York forget, among other things. Donald Trump actually doesn't charge anyone. There's this little tiny thing called the grand jury, and if you'll dust off your copy of the Constitution, you can find it in there. You have to be indicted by your fellow citizens. Tish James was indicted for 2 counts of mortgage fraud, and the defense that it was only $18,000. Good luck in front of a jury. I don't think the limit is $17,000. I don't think you can steal up to $17,000, but 18 is where we draw the line.
So, I mean, you know, and I had the decency not to go to law school like some of you, but I mean, when you look at the case and you look at the evidence and you look at the forms that she filled out, you can't help but, I mean, it seems to me like it's a pretty tough case she's facing.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, honestly, it's hard to convince 12 people of anything other than that you're more handsome than your brother, Rob. That would be easy.
Yeah.
It's hard this day and age to convince a jury of 12. So what the government has to prove is that she knowingly made a false statement, and then it gets into whether or not she intended to occupy that home in Virginia or rent it out. It is a tough case. But again, the grand jury found probable cause. So what is the alternative? To just take a pass on it because she's the AG of New York? Just say, you know what, we would do it if your name was Tish Smith, but we're not going to do it if it's Tish James.
You know, one of the things I've always admired about your wisdom on these issues is the importance of keeping the law above politics. And in fact, you know, the only thing that holds us all together, it might be hard to get 12 people to agree to anything, but the one thing that holds us all together is the notion of equal justice under law. Why is that so important?
The law is the most equalizing, unifying force we have in our culture, Charlie. It is the only thing in the world that makes the richest person drive the same speed limit as the poorest person. I mean, there's a reason the lady is blindfolded. And she's not blind. People get that wrong. She's blindfolded, which shows her intent to keep the person in front of her anonymous. Sure, she could let it slip, and sometimes people do, but she chooses to just judge it based on the merits. And that's what is beautiful about our justice system. What's not beautiful is to say, I am going to run to be the Attorney General of South Carolina, the Commonwealth, or New York, targeting an individual, which is exactly what she did. And then, of course, when Alvin Bragg became the DA, he gave us the long list of cases he wasn't going to prosecute. That ain't.
So, as we know, she's pleading not guilty to allegations of mortgage fraud, but she's getting hit with demands to resign as more and more evidence keeps surfacing publicly about what she did. She's going to have to figure out whether she can actually win this battle in court or start coming to terms with the fact that her time in office is done and a hefty fine or prison sentence is coming her way. Letitia James basically built her entire career on targeting Trump. Go look it up yourself. I remember her saying, I'm going to get him, and I promise I'm going after Donald Trump with every fiber of my being. And she was all head movement, swagger, total confidence. Yeah. All because she went after him for financial wrongdoing that he didn't even commit. And now she's caught up in accusations of the exact same kind of stuff she tried and failed to pin on him. Oh, the irony is definitely not lost on me or the public. Social media has blown up with comparisons between her aggressive, I'd almost say, illegal legal pursuit of Trump and her own current mess. A lot of commentators are pointing out this proves political power corrupts just as easily on the left as it does on the right. Her legal team claims the accusations are baseless and she'll be completely cleared in court unless it's totally rigged in her favor, which, no. Behind closed doors, sources close to the case say prosecutors have been gathering evidence for months. We're talking emails, bank records, witness statements. All of it is painting a really troubling picture for someone who swore they'd nailed Trump for this exact kind of thing and is now being investigated for the very crimes she accused him of intentional deception tied to mortgage, fraud, mortgage applications, and property filings. If that's proven true, those actions could amount to not just fraud, but also perjury and obstruction of justice. Meanwhile, the political fallout has already started. Opponents are demanding an independent special prosecutor to make sure the case isn't influenced by James's position or connections. But it's like, all right, okay, that just adds another complicating layer. I don't love that. Republican leaders have jumped on this opportunity to call out what they see as total hypocrisy in the New York Attorney General's office. And I'd say that's very accurate.
System which has been used as a tool of revenge. And a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law.
And that's New York Attorney General Letitia James after pleading not guilty in a Virginia federal court to 2 felony charges of bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution, which all stem from a favorable mortgage that she received back in 2020. Joining me now is Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, an integral member of the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman, thanks very much for being here. Well, we're in a government shutdown right now, but I know that your Oversight Committee has been looking at all of this. What can you tell us?
Look, I know we are eager to get back and dive into this, but Letitia James obviously had accused the president of a lot of things. And isn't it ironic that the evidence is showing that she's actually guilty of what she was accusing him?
Now, let's say you're in Letitia James's camp and you're a diehard Letitia James supporter. You're like, yeah, she's my person. I'd have to say even you guys are having a hard time ignoring the growing mountain of evidence piling up. I'm not going to get into specifics, just do a little searching yourself. You're going to see, oh, Caroline was right. I'll say, you're welcome in advance. But I'm telling you, the irony surrounding Letitia James and her legal troubles is impossible to ignore. For years, she declared, I'm going to get Trump. I'm going to get Trump. Self-proclaimed champion of justice, fearless prosecutor who's going to bring down Donald Trump. She accused him of inflating and deflating property values to get favorable loans and tax advantages, calling it a pattern of fraud. Yet now she's standing accused of doing the exact same thing and is facing criminal indictment. She's actually done this stuff. She really has. Now, let's say, for example, it's all lies. You do some digging and realize, oh, Caroline's wrong. I would still argue she's kind of asking for it because she outright said, I am going to get him. That's political persecution. That's illegal. You cannot do that. That's not okay in any sense. So that right there should disqualify her. Even if Trump did all the things she claimed, which he didn't, it should be thrown out because that's a smoking gun, in my opinion. Any competent judge, a judge who actually follows the rule of law to the letter, not how it's crazily interpreted by wacko far-left judges, will look at this and go, you can't pursue this case because you campaigned on it. You promised you were going to get him. How is that okay? A district attorney general saying, I'm going to go after the opposition's primary candidate? Whoa, that's insane to me. President Trump has already been vindicated and is now holding the White House for a second time. The woman who built her political fame on getting Trump is now facing her own fraud charges. When James went after Trump, she didn't just make her case in court. She went in front of every camera she could find. She held press conferences constantly and gave fiery speeches with the sole purpose of destroying Trump's political image, but it didn't work. It backfired. Even the black population in New York City, go look at the numbers. They were more like, oh yeah, he's my president now, because they gave him the mugshot, they paraded him around. They did the whole grand spectacle of processing President Donald Trump, and now that mugshot is on his wall in the White House, people are like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. They should have never deplatformed him. They should have never gone after him like this, because he's truly, I'd almost argue, politically untouchable at this point. There's nothing in the Epstein files. All the women who came out about what Epstein did have said Trump never did anything and actually helped prosecutors. So it's like, okay, you don't have him there either. I think he's invincible at this point. They've made him a political martyr, just like whoever murdered Charlie Kirk. Obviously, he was a Christian and political leader, so that was a religious assassination as much as a political one. Oh gosh, we miss you, Charlie. Anyway, getting back to Letitia James and this whole situation, she shouldn't have gone after him like this, because now it's backfired. There's nothing there. And they were so confident Kamala was going to win, but it didn't happen. What makes this situation even more wild is that the evidence emerging against Letitia appears incredibly similar to what she was trying to prove Trump guilty of. Documents suggest prosecutors have obtained records showing James allegedly made false statements about property values on mortgage documents, which happens to be the exact practice she spent years condemning. Letitia James is finally getting what she deserves. It's good. I'm genuinely glad this is happening, because it's good for justice. If people think they can get away with this, they're going to keep doing it. For that reason alone, she needs to go to prison. If you don't have any consequences, the bad guys are just going to keep doing bad things. Her crusade against Trump was politically motivated from the start. Even neutral observers, not just conservative influencers. Remember when even Don Lemon was walking around the streets of New York City asking, what do you think about this? And so many people were saying, honestly, this seems like political prosecution. It seems very one-sided. And he was shocked. Random everyday people who might not even care about politics like we do were going, what? This isn't okay. She should never have done it. It's so bad for the Democrats. Now, the New York Attorney General, who insisted no one's above the law, is finding herself in the defendant's chair, pleading not guilty to the same crimes she accused Trump of. If the charges hold up, the implications go way beyond Letitia. They strike at the credibility of the entire justice system during the Biden years that she once represented. How can the public trust the fairness of prosecutions when the prosecutor becomes the person facing prison time? Big implications. And that brings us to the end of our video here at the Unfiltered American Media. That's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. I do read them all. Thank you so much for watching Unfiltered America Media. I'm Caroline, your host. Stay strong, stay free, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.